Right now I'm doing okay. Everything's moving as planned. Had a follow-up yesterday, and they're evaluating the eye, and I got a follow-up tomorrow, and we'll just, day by day, week by week, and see how things progress. But minimal pain, so the treatments, the medications is helping, and it was the support of my wife. She's been handling my treatments at home, and so thankful for her. And my sons are home, so they're also contributing to the help. So it's been going okay. Thank you. And I was hit. That's her attention. That became my attention, my focus to help her get out of the danger zone, get her to a safe place, and she did a great job listening and letting me help her. Use the trash can she had against the fence, and helping her get over that fence. And I was able to jump over the neighbor's fence and then get him to her backyard as well, and then get her in the house. And she brought me a towel to help with the bleeding, to help. And then she offered her couch for me to sit on. I was like, no, I'm bleeding too much. So she had a doggy bed on the ground, and that's what I sat on when I was waiting to get extracted out of the house. As far as the calmness, I mean, y'all know this by now. The many years I spent in the Marine Corps, they teach you to stay calm. They teach you to communicate effectively, so you can get the support you need quickly. Because if you're, yelling and just frantic, they don't understand what's happening. They don't understand the situation. So that's what I was trying to do on the radio, which is be as calm and relay information as accurate as possible. And so the help that was coming knew what to do, when it got there. So that's hopefully I answered that question as far as the calmness and helping her. So the original call was a burglary. So arrived on scene. I was still in training, so I had a partner, and I had seen the individual sitting on the side yard of his house, but wasn't doing anything, just minding his business. And then turned the truck around, kind of orientated to where he was at, and got out of the truck and just told my partner, just keep an eye. And I was walking to the residence. I was looking towards him, but still doing nothing out of the ordinary, just sitting there. And then met with the victim. We started going through the investigation piece about what happened, and we're just talking. And then one of the final questions I asked her was, about surveillance cameras. And we both kind of were looking in that direction, and that's when the first shot was fired. So I got her between the two houses. I started communicating my unit number to dispatch, shots fired, and hit the panic button at the same time. I was trying to give a description of that individual, and I guess that when I got hit, that's when I was doing that. So I went down, tried to call it out, the white male, black trousers, but I guess it came in a different way. And then after I was hit, like I said earlier, I was trying to orientate myself. I got up. She had dropped her wallet, so I picked that up as well. And then that's where I found her, behind hiding behind the trash cans, and then got her up and did what I did. But like I said earlier, what I was feeling was the victim. That's all my focus of effort was on her and getting her to safety, and that was it. I wasn't worried about me anymore. Put me to get over the fence. So the whole time she was shielded by me to get over that fence, and that's all I was focused on. So I'm in a house, I start hearing the exchange going back and forth of the gunfire, and then the door being hit, banged on, and then she opened it, and that's when the extract team was there and got me out of the house and got me to the collection point. Once inside the ambulance, TACMED wanted to confirm the identity or description, and they had said, are we looking for a black male? It's like, no, it's a white male black trousers, shoulder length hair, black hair, and that's really all I can remember at that point. And so we cleared that up pretty quick as far as the description. So that was pretty fast. But I mean, it was routine calls, had done a number of them. It was just one of these calls that should have been the same way. He had no part of the incident or the call. He was just at his own residence. So, it just went quick. The whole situation just changed rapidly. So lengthy record for service, 30 years, multiple deployments. I could have retired and just, kind of did my time. But I like putting on a uniform. I like serving. I did a short time with DFW Airport Police for a little while, and then was enjoying that. And then my mother got sick with cancer, so I had to resign to help take care of her. And then she passed recently, well, not recently, but last April. And so I wanted to get back into serving. And being a little older now, not being able to do actual sworn police, this job I saw and applied and got it, and it was great. Serving, helping victims. They've had a vehicle stolen or their personal space violated by a burglary or something to that effect, and anything we can do to help the police officers take some of those calls off their plate so they can handle the more major ones. Team effort. That's what I was looking at doing, and up to that Tuesday, everything had been going that way, and helping those victims, and every one of them have been appreciative and thankful they were, we were there to help take the reports and get it rolling so we can get their properties back and stuff like that. So serving is all I ever cared about doing. So we'll see where this goes in the future and see what happens from that point. So yes, it's took some fragments from the round. It's still left in the eye area. So what they want to do is let the main injury heal for the eye. And then after that's done, then start exploring later on, removing the fragments of that, what's in my eye still. As far as long-term, I just had my first follow-up yesterday, and tomorrow's another one for the facial, or at least for the fragment removal. So as each of the appointments come up and we go through them, I get a better idea how the road to recovery is going to be. So, but right now we're still in the beginning phase. But pain-wise, it's just having this thing on and the irritation, the itching stuff. That's about it. A little bit of headache here and there, but I'm getting through it.
Have they said anything about long-term about your vision, or?
Again, that's just
really early on.
Early on, and we just take it as each appointment comes by. Goes by and see what they say. The feelings, yes. I mean, you're always taught to, deal with the situation and address it quickly. And, you got casualties, you got to get them out. You got to get them to safety or, to wherever to get treatment. So that's, when you're talking similarities, that's what I was thinking at that moment. Like, she's the effort, get her out of the danger into a safe place. So, now the first question, yes, it was 2003 during the invasion of Iraq, and things were very chaotic. Things were happening at a fast pace, and we were approaching going into Baghdad at the time, and just came under heavy, fire and stuff like that. So one of the places had exploded over us and took a little bit of shrapnel to the arm, but nothing, that kept me out. So to continue, going through that moment, on that day. But yeah, I mean, that's about the extent of that. Nothing that kept me out. Nothing that got me medevaced or taken to a hospital or anything. We just kept going. From that moment on, I mean, this department, everything in this department, units have been phenomenal. Everything's been, that day, when I heard not even 2 minutes, I think, you're hearing all the sirens coming and you're hearing all the exchange back and forth, and then the extract and getting put in a vehicle and then taken to the collection point for the treatment and to the hospital. I mean, that's what you hope for. You hope you get all those assets there to help you and help all the other civilians that are there, the neighbors or whatever, get them to safety, and then you start thinking about them, their safety. I was worried about the victim's safety. I was worried about my partner's safety. But, Fort Worth police, and they have accepted us as one of theirs, over the years. And I know I'm happy with that and appreciative of that. And obviously that response that we got, or I got on Tuesday, showed that, how quickly they were there. And not just them, but all the other different agencies that showed up for that situation. So I couldn't be more happy, and everything's been phenomenal, not just for that day, but everything after that day, helping my wife get to the hospital, and my sons who were flying in from around the country and out of country to get to the hospital, and just the constant checking in, the calls, the chief being at the hospital when I got there and coming back, and then the mayor's office. It's just, with the Marine Corps side, it's the same thing. We have an incident where there's training or real. That's the effort. The families, everybody focuses the efforts on them to take care of their needs, and that's what's happened here. And I'm very happy with everything that's been going on. So, yeah.
Once your ISU,
Yes, ma'am.
whatever time you're going to take,
Mm-hmm.
do you see yourself coming back and serve the community?
Yes, that's my hope, is to come back and hopefully wear the civilian response unit uniform and get back out there and do what I was trained to do, and continue to serve the community and help as much as I can. But I just leave it up to the doctors and let them work their magic and get me healed up. So, thank you.
You mentioned your wife and your sons. And
Yes.
Just wondering, how's your family doing?
Mhm.
And other people close to you? How are they all doing?
They're doing great. Yeah, thanks. They're doing phenomenal. My wife's the bedrock of the family, holding it together, and my sons have been very helpful and, sharing the duties, of keeping the household moving. And so they all been positive and so yeah, so they're doing great. Thanks. And the general public piece. Why I was there was handling a non-emergency call. So that means the incident's already happened. I'm going there to investigate, take a report, make sure it meets the elements, and then file the report, and that's it. That's the extent of our duties, is to do that. If we get on scene and there's a threat that could be towards us, we know how to get out of that threat, whether it's we get on the radio and request an officer to come to the where we're at, to the location, and then and help us handle that. But the overall mission of what we do is handling non-emergency calls. So anything that doesn't require an officer to get there immediately, we're going to help. So it's like a priority 4 type call. So it's already happened. The suspect's gone, or it's not currently happening. We take it and we help the victim. We investigate and do our notes, and go back to the sector, write our reports up, and then submit them. And that's what we do. So we're not there to judge. We're not there to do anything towards that victim. We're there to help the victim, and that's why we were sent there. So so that's pretty much the extent of what CRU does, is help take calls, non-emergency calls, and help the victims, hopefully retrieve the property, or at least, they find it and give it back, in its original state. Well, before that, it was my wife getting there. I wanted her to get there, either with, Fort Worth PD, police, bringing her or whatever. But that was my first in my head, like getting her there. But yeah, once I got to the ER, everybody was there. The officers were there, and the chief was there. Even the sheriff for Tarrant-County was there, so I appreciate him being there. And some of the city leaders were there. So that's, like I said earlier, it was amazing to see all that support quickly showing up and arriving there, and just giving me all the, support. It I didn't see any sad faces. I think they were all just happy I was okay. Yeah, I took the hit here, but I got kind of, hey, stay, lay down, don't sit up. And I was like, I'm okay. I can shake a hand. I can, do those kind of things. They're not going to take my will. I'm going to continue to do what I know I can do and be okay doing it. So yes, it was phenomenal to see everybody there. It was a great, experience.
And what about your release when you left the hospital?
That was great too. I mean, seeing everybody lined up, leaving the hospital, lining up both sides of the corridor, going out the main entrance, and then the escort all the way back to where I live. And, it's just, you see it times, and it's unfortunately, but when you go through it, it's like, wow, they make all the efforts to get you there and get you home safely, and that's what they did. So it's just, and not enough thanks to go around to this department. I shake as many hands as I can and thank all the, women and men and women here that do this every day, night and day, and they're out there. So I appreciate all the support they gave me throughout that week. Maybe, I don't know. I mean, originally the call was came in the morning, but we had some training here to do, and then I said, well, if it's still holding, when we get done with the training, I'll take the call. And sure enough, it was still waiting. So I called it in, and I said, put me on that one. I'm en route. So yeah, I mean, if I had done it in the morning, would I be in this situation? I don't know. Probably not, but I'm glad I was the one there. I'm glad I'm the one that helped her, because like y'all already said, or asked me about the training and all that I've been through. That's what kicked in. That's what I just roll a dex in my head, and this is what I got to do next. Protect her, not me. I'm already, get her out of the situation, and protect her, and get her in the house, and that's all I really thought about. And even after getting here, I'm asking my wife and others, how's the victim? How's she doing? How's my partner? How they're doing? I wasn't worried about how I was doing. It was all about them and everybody else, obviously. But yeah. So, that answer?
Big heart.
I try, I guess. I mean, serving is all I cared about. That's all I ever thought about doing. I mean, I joined at 18 and the Marine Corps at 18, and just did that for the time I did, and then just wanted to continue doing it. I didn't having a uniform on is all I ever thought about doing, or continuing on doing afterwards. Well, that's one thing they teach you in the Marine Corps. You're there to serve, and you're there to serve others. So, and as I moved up through the ranks, that became more important. To serve everyone else and get them whatever they needed. It could be the simplest thing or the biggest thing. They're the effort, so they can do what they need to do. We call it forward. Going forward and doing what they need to do. So yeah, serving's always been something always wanted to do and continue to do. And so yeah, and faith, or however you want to say it. Yeah, I mean, you call it that, but that's all I want to do is serve. That's it. So yes, we spoke yesterday, and it's great conversation, because everything's such a fast-moving, fluid situation. So we spoke, and obviously shook their hands and thanked them immensely about how they what they did and how they did it. Everything was, to me, was flawless. And, I know they trained to it, and it just brought back memories about how we do it on the military side. And so yeah, so it was good to see them and thank them and thank everybody for what happened and how it was done. The police department handled all that, and they did it the way I would hope it would be done. Minimal information, not a lot over the phone. Just keep it, he's fine, he's okay. I know she was trying to dig the information out of the caller, but they wouldn't give in. They waited till she got to where I was at, and then she walked to my right and gave me her hand, and I held it, and that was that. So it was good got to see her face, and kind of brought more motivation to me to, all right, get me out of this gurney, and let me get back out there, because that's just my mindset. And I know she don't like it, but it's it is what it is. But but yeah, it was good the way they handled it, and I appreciate all that. Keep it. So
Family have any input about your plans to get back out there?
yes, they do have input. On this one they will, and but like I said earlier, when I joined DFW Airport Police, she was very supportive in that whole in my decision to do that after doing what I did, and so she was supportive of this one too. But obviously things happen, like somebody said earlier. It just went from routine to the way it did, and anything can happen to anybody. But they do have input, so we'll see where it goes from there. Right. So for them, it's like I am, just you stay focused, on what we're tasked to do, what our mission is, to serve the community, help the community. Every situation you hope is the same. It's going to be a quiet interaction with the victim, simple call, do the investigation and then move on to the next one after you do your report. But always be situationally aware, just head on a swivel kind of thing. Just always check the surroundings. You just never know. And what I was trying to do is just when the victim and I turned to look at her cameras, that was his opportunity. So just in that split 2-second, whatever it could have been, he took advantage of it and did what he did. So, and I've talked to all my fellow CRUs and, expressed my gratitude to them because they came to the hospital right away and they've been offering all their help and support, during this time, so I'm thankful for them, and they're all great people, and all, some are aspiring to be police officers, so they're doing this job for a little while, and then they're, wanting to work for Fort Worth Police. So hopefully they continue that plan, and so yeah.
All right. Well, folks, let's give him a hand, please. Come on.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you,
so
sir.
much.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. That was amazing. I appreciate everyone's help. Thank you.